If you're training upper body for wrestling the same way that bodybuilders or powerlifters train theirs, you're making a critical mistake that's costing you matches. Hey there, Brandon Spilley here from ThirstGym.com, and over the past 15 years of training wrestlers from youth all the way up to the collegiate level, I've identified the exact upper body training approach that translates to dominant performance on the mat. Over the course of this video, I'm going to show you the complete upper body training system and exercises that I like to use with my wrestlers, covering 3 critical movement patterns that I believe you need to develop if you want to be able to take on the biggest matches of your career. The biggest mistake that 90% of wrestlers make with their overall training work and the exact programming structure that I like to use with my athletes. Before we jump into the exercise though, you need to understand why wrestlers need upper body training differently than other athletes. Wrestling demands 3 things simultaneously: pulling strength in every single direction that you can possibly think of, the ability to generate force from compromised positions that's going to last throughout the potential 6-minute plus match that you might have, and you're not just pushing weight in a straight line, you're controlling another physical person who's actively trying to resist you. This means we need to prioritize 3 specific movement categories, in my opinion. The first is that we need to address multi-directional based pulling, which means we need to pull from a variety of angles and using different implements to really maximize the return of our upper back strength and our grip strength. Number 2 is going to make sure that we have rotational power built in. Wrestling is going to involve throws and actually using our hips and our whole body. So while this is an upper body based video, you really need to understand that the whole body is going to work as a system. So rotational based exercises, especially emphasizing upper body into that rotational piece, is critical to be able to move the opponent where you want to. And number 3 is then going to have positional based pressing that's going to be more applicable towards wrestling. While I absolutely love the bench press and the overhead press, and I think these are great foundational exercises that you 100% should use at some point during your training career, I like to put the athletes in more positional based approaches that they're more likely to see in sport that's going to translate over a little bit better to the wrestling mat. So let's go. All right, to start this off, our first 3 exercises are going to be power-based exercises. These are going to be designed to improve your ability to generate power and force as quickly as possible. Exercise number 1 is going to be med ball slam variations. I like this because as we work from our feet as a wrestler, we're having to constantly be heavy on the head, use our arms, and try to continually move somebody out of the way. Using a med ball from a power perspective does a great job of not only being somewhat rotational if we want to do a rotational scoop toss, but also gets our lats and upper bodies really involved to be heavy on the head and be powerful when we actually need to go do that. Any kind of med ball slam really works great here. I'm not going to be too picky in what I say you have to do, but I would make sure that you're doing med ball slams all year round in your training program. I ideally like to do them for 4 to 5 sets of anywhere from 5 to 8 reps, depending upon the variation that I have my athletes doing. Exercise number 2 is going to be the landmine row to press. This is a very explosive full body exercise, but it is a little more biased towards the upper body. It's going to develop that rotational power that we talked about. But what I like about it is we're actually going to get a rowing portion of it from a single arm perspective. We're going to translate that into the rotation portion of our midsection and our trunk, and then we're actually going to get a press in there as well. So we're going to move that landmine from one arm to the other arm as we're continuing to rotate. So like I said, it's going to develop that rotational based power, but specifically in the upper body more so. And think of this as if you need to actually push somebody out of the way, or you're trying to reach down and grab a leg, or you're trying to shuck somebody by. These are all things that this exercise works fantastic for. The key is to make sure that you don't do the exercise too heavy. Yes, you do want to use some weight so that you actually have some load. It can really generate some power. But if you feel like you're moving through molasses, chances are you have too much weight on the bar for this exercise. I really like this exercise for 3 to 5 sets of 2 to 5 reps on each side. Exercise number 3 is going to be the abandoned hinge to row. This is a pretty unique exercise, but what I like about this is we can develop strength and power in a rowing bent over position, but it is mainly after the power aspects. You are going to want a moderately strong band here, but we're actually going to get our posterior chain involved, our glutes, our hamstrings, getting that extension from our hips. But as we go to do that, we're actually going to pull that band in as strong as we possibly can. If you watch this exercise and you see, man, that looks like a blast double or a power double, or trying to grab a leg, or maybe you're going for a high crotch and you're trying to pull it in really quickly, That's exactly what this exercise works great for. So think of this as a way to be able to snatch arms and legs incredibly explosively, because at the end of the day, you have to be strong in your upper body, especially in the pulling aspect, but also we can't forget to neglect the power aspect of our back as well, because the back is so important for wrestling. Exercise like this, you can do it two different ways. You can do it for time, for anywhere from 10 to 15 seconds, trying to get as many reps in as you possibly can. Or you can do this for 3 to 5 sets of 5 to 8 repetitions, being as explosively as you possibly can, using a strong band, making sure they still got some pop and some zip to it, so that you're developing that upper back speed and power. Exercise number 4 is going to be chin-ups, pull-ups, any kind of vertical pulling variation that you happen to like. Wrestlers are known for doing multiple pull-ups and chin-ups, especially all the time, but I think the big area that you need to focus on here is making this a strength exercise. If you can do pull-ups and chin-ups, you need to start loading them up with weight as heavy as you possibly can for really hard sets. Get yourself a good old-fashioned pull-up belt or dip belt and dust in one. You can find one for like $20 or $30 maybe on Amazon, and you will use that thing a ton. This is going to develop that vertical pulling strength, which is going to be great for whenever we need to be strong to physically pull people into us, pull down arms, or keep things really close into us. It's also going to develop some incredibly strong grip as well, so you're going to get a nice bang for your buck there. With my loaded chins with my wrestlers, I really like pushing these for hard sets of 3 to 5 repetitions, getting as heavy as we possibly can, and doing this anywhere from 3 to 5 sets, depending upon where we are in our seasonality. Exercise number 5 is going to be the glute bridge dumbbell floor press. Now, while I talked about how I love the bench press, and I think it's a great exercise, I believe the glute bridge dumbbell floor press is way more applicable to wrestlers. One, it's going to be able to let us train our posterior chain and hold that position. So as you think about being a wrestler, you want to be able to glute bridge or bridge, be able to get to certain positions so you don't get stuck on your back. Ideally, we never want to be there, but you got to prepare for the worst. But I like this because it's actually going to have us press more at a decline angle, and then using the dumbbells, we can alternate them. We can do it with one arm, but really it's going to be simultaneously training to press somebody away from us as we need to go turn. So if you really want to make this nice and tough, perform these with an alternating fashion so that you're actually getting some rib roll in there, because that's what's going to happen on the mat. Again, I like this as a main strength exercise, so really 5 to 8 reps on each side, or 5 to 8 reps just in general with both arms. You probably are going to need a training partner or somebody to hand you the dumbbells to get in position to get as heavy as you need to, but I think this is a way more applicable pressing pattern for wrestlers. Even though I do love the bench press and do think using the bench press is still a good exercise, I'm not going to knock it, but if I had to pick one horizontal pressing exercise, this is the one I'm going with. Exercise number 6 is going to be the inverted row, in particular with battle ropes or fat grips. So if you don't happen to have battle ropes, just invest in a pair of fat grips or an axle bar, but doing inverted rows with our hands in a nice open position is going to really tax our grip while we're actually getting that horizontal rowing pattern in. And this is incredibly important from a hand control perspective. It's not that I know that, hey, you can't do as many reps as you possibly could if you just did a regular inverted row, or if you did like a chest supported dumbbell row. Again, great exercises, I'm not going to knock them, but it does no good to have that strong back if you can't actually hold on to the things that you're trying to pulling, in this case, fighting for hand control with either an upper arm or wrist, or even grabbing an ankle. You name it, you're going to have to use your grip to really get into that pulling position. So that's why I love the inverted battle rope row, because it's going to tax the grip. It's going to train you specifically for that, and you can still build a nice, big, strong upper back. Here, I like the reps a little bit higher, usually between 8 and 15. Usually what I'll give my athletes is 2 to 3 sets of burnout-based sets to where we'll just get them down there, knock out as many reps as we possibly can, and build that upper back and that grip strength. Exercise number 7 is we're going to jump back to that landmine and use that for a half kneeling landmine overhead press. I love this exercise because we can, again, train our upper body pushing strength, but we can do it from a unilateral perspective, and we can build our midsection in terms of resisting that movement as well. Well, yes, I do think it's great if we have a little bit of body English here and there, but if we can teach our midsection to resist movement as well, as we're actually pushing and pulling things, that's going to be a more beneficial position to be in from a wrestling perspective. This is a great exercise that you can use all year round to, one, keep your shoulders feeling good, building strong shoulders, triceps, and pressing muscles, and developing that strong midsection as well. I really like this for 3 to 4 sets of anywhere from 6 to 8 reps per side, regardless of what time of year you are. All right, let's move into the tertiary exercise. These are the exercises that I think are fantastic, but you're not going to necessarily build your program around them. And so exercise number 8 is going to be the battle rope kettlebell upright row. I would be a fool if I did not put some kind of direct neck and trap exercise in here, and this is my favorite one for wrestlers. Going back to using that battle rope of developing a nice strong grip is going to give you that bang for your buck and 2 for 1 here. And doing this, you're going to develop some really strong shoulders and traps as well. The stronger the traps and neck are, we know that we're going to have to fight people pounding on our heads, trying to put us into half Nelsons, or maybe even get put on your back. You got to have a strong neck. Having these big, strong traps and neck, along with that grip and shoulders, is a good combination-based exercise that I have really grown to love, even in my own training, even though I don't wrestle anymore. I really like this for 2 to 4 sets of 10 to 20 reps, really depending upon where we're at in our seasonality. If we're in off season, I like to crank these reps a lot higher, get a lot of blood flow, try to really build some muscle. If we're in the in-season aspect, I know I don't want to make my athletes super fatigued and tired, so therefore I drop the reps down more to that 10 to 12 rep range. Exercise number 9 is going to be primarily an abdominal-based exercise, but you are going to feel this in your lats and your upper body as well, and that's going to be the slider wheelbarrow. All you're going to need for this is a pair of furniture sliders. Just go down to Home Depot, Lowe's, pick up a pair, and you can do these with any kind of carpeted or mat-based surface. And you're just going to get on your hands, and you're just going to crawl on your hands, keeping your toes dug in. You're going to feel your midsection have to tighten up really hard in that plank position. As we're walking with our arms, we're developing good quality shoulder mobility, as well as developing our lats and our serratus, and we're building some conditioning as well. You're just going to knock these out for as long as you can until you can't do them anymore. If you really want to level it up, put a 25 or 45 pound plate on your back, and it's going to really up the ante on this exercise. Do it for anywhere from 2 to 3 sets, anywhere that works best in your training schedule. And the final exercise that I love for wrestlers are good old-fashioned dips. Yes, while the push-up is fantastic, the dip, in my opinion, is the advanced variation of the quality push-up, and we can load that dip up really hard and get a good quality range of motion. I think this is a fantastic job of developing strong pecs, shoulders, and triceps, which is going to carry over into any other pressing exercises that you have, but just building those muscles to be big, strong, and the ability to be able to do them anywhere. As long as you've got a pair of parallel bars, you just go to the park and do these exercises, again, using that dip belt as well to strap on some weight with you, but it's just going to build a massive upper body, which is going to be crucial, again, for owning your opponent on the mat. I think it's just a great bang for your buck exercise. And like I said, while I love the bench press, I think dips is a better option for a majority of wrestlers in their training career. Do these for 2 to 3 hard sets of 6 to 10 reps, especially if you're trying to improve your strength, or if you happen to be limited on equipment, just take 2 to 3 sets and crank out as many possible reps as you can. It's also super scalable, so if you are a beginner, you just throw a band on there, get some band assistance, and you can still do the exercise and still benefit from it, which is, again, another reason why I love it. Now, while these 10 exercises are fantastic, I want to make sure I'm really clear that you should not do all 10 of these exercises in the same workout. You need to divvy them up based upon what works best for you. Really, if you pick 1 to 2 power exercises, 1 to pull main strength exercises, ideally a push and a pull, and 1 to 2 of the accessory-based exercises that I have, and throw in anything else extra that you feel that you might just want to do because you enjoy training it, I think that will give you a nice, well-rounded out upper body training day. I also think there are 3 big mistakes that a lot of wrestlers make when it comes to their upper body training. Number 1 is just training to failure every single session. Wrestling already beats up your body, so leave 1 to 2 reps in the tank in most cases than not on most of the exercises you're doing, especially if you are in season. Mistake number 2 is not going to be taking care of your shoulders. Face pulls, band pull aparts, and external rotation based work are also great. While they did not make this list because I'm going for more bang for your buck exercises, make sure you're still doing those things to keep your shoulders nice and healthy. Some of these exercises will also help with that. And mistake number 3 is going to be copying the bodybuilding based splits. Having a chest day or a back day or a shoulder day does not work for wrestlers. You need full body integration into every single training session that you use because you are a wrestler and you are an athlete. Again, while this is primarily an upper body based exercise that I'm giving you, you can notice how there is full body integration into majority of the exercises that I'm choosing because you are an athlete and therefore you need to train so. As such, you can still divvy your training sessions up into full body or a push or a pull or a lower body if you absolutely need to and you have a lot of time and you're in the off season. But for the majority of wrestlers that I work with, 2 to 3 full body training sessions, taking some of the exercise from this, some of the lower body exercise, which I'll link in the description box below, is a great way to develop a full, well-rounded training program. If this video helped you understand how to train your upper body specifically for wrestling, hit that like button, subscribe for more. I drop new videos every single week. Again, I'm Brandon Smiley from Thirst Gym, and I'll see you in the next video. Now get to work.